See if there's somebody you've never met, and please say hello to them. Don't go to Metron with strangers. Push that a little forward. You don't even foot room. Push that forward. You can't even room to stand. I don't know yet. I like what you put together. That's cool. Huh? Hey. Yeah. Not exactly. We thought it was. His has patches on there, and they're different.
Yeah, I know his has.
They're different labels, but we were in the car. We were looking. His has a little rust in it. Mine does, but we thought they were exactly the same. So we always try not to wear them on the same day. But today we're like, you know what? We'll just go with it.
Still got cold. I'm ready to bring it
We're
out.
gonna have such a good time today. So I guess, are we on the World Wide Web yet? The World Wide Web. I'm glad to see everybody. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? All right, we're in agreement. It's a beautiful day. I've got a lot of good stuff for you. So we've already set our intentions. Are you a seat filler this way? Well, I'll tell you what would I do without you? So we're in agreement. Please remain standing and we'll get officially started. For the YouTubers.
Good morning, and welcome to Metron. Metron is measure or sphere of influence, and we want to help you find your Metron. Through motivation, enlightenment, transcendence, renewal, outreach, and networking. Today is your day to find your Metron, and we hope you enjoy the service.
Good, beautiful morning, people of Metron. People of Metron, I salute you. It's good. I don't know. It just felt like a science fiction movie there for a minute. It's a beautiful day. It's fall finally got here. We had to keep coaxing it. Like, come on, fall, come on, come on. And finally came on out. Some of these, I don't know if they're maples or whatever that bright orange red is. It's just, I just never get tired of looking at it. It's so beautiful. And there were several of them on the way over here this morning that were just spectacular. And we went up. Yes, we go to Chattanooga a lot. We like it. And we went and we drove up Lookout Mountain. I thought I've seen this a zillion times and I still want to see it every fall. You know, it's like, of course I want to look at this and take pictures of it. And it was great, but I'm glad to be back here with all of you today. Hey, listen, we're really blessed. You know, our artist of the month is Marshall Ruffin, and he'll be here for the rest of the time. But he's on tour right now, and the planets lined up, and Jesus fixed it, and somehow, some kind of way, God made a way, and the one and only Chandra Corelli was available today, and so she's here. So without any further ado, would you please welcome Chandra Corelli.
Good morning, everybody. What was that? What happened? There we go. Oh, it's so good to be home. You can start that now. Isn't it great to know that God is unconditional? I don't have to be a certain way. I don't have to say a certain thing. He loves me anyway. Ooh, yeah, yes. Y'all can sit down. In my dreams, I could see all true love in my life to rescue me. Now it's real. I truly feel that in my heart I knew you were always there for me. Now I know that you're for me with unconditional love. And no matter how things seem, your love unconditional. Your love's a guarantee. It's right here in demand. Anytime I want, I want. was still strong. You wrapped me in your arms of understanding. I confess there's no one else who can always pass the test, because you're the best. All I know I want from you is unconditional love, and no matter how things seem, your love unconditional. Your love is deeper than a river. Sometimes it's hard for me to conceive. Oh yes, you took me in and became more than a friend. Your love taught me just how love should be. Oh, you're unconditional. Oh yes, oh, I can count on you, yes. Oh, your love's forever, 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 forever. Oh, you know you're unconditional, unconditional love. Unconditional, unconditional, unconditional love. There's nobody like you. Unconditional, unconditional love. Oh, I'm so thankful. Unconditional, unconditional love. Unconditional love. Yeah, because you care. Yes, you're always there. Oh my, I can count on you. Yeah. Yes, all because you care. Oh yes, I just wanna see. No matter what I do, you're right there, right through. No matter how it seems, you're right there with me. Yeah. You stand in the gap, yeah. Oh, as no one else said. Oh, your love is unconditional. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, your love's conditional. Unconditional love, oh, like no other love. Oh, yes. When they turn their backs on me, I know I can count on you. Oh, you'll be right there through the good times and the bad. Oh, the good times, I know. Oh, your love's unconditional. Oh, every day, every night, every hour, every minute of every moment. Yes. Woo. In this business, in the business I'm in, you better know you got some unconditional love. Because they'll make you think what is isn't. So I'm so glad I'm on solid ground. It is not for the faint at heart. I tell young people that getting into the entertainment business, you got to have a foundation. Yes. And believe me, no foundation is greater than Jesus. Again I came through, but not without you. You paved the way for a brighter day. I didn't have to worry, I didn't have to stress. I just believed, and you did the rest. It's not about what I can do, but all the things I get from you to keep me safe from day to keep them from my very sight, because you love me. No matter what, you're always there. Times when I get weak, needing you to speak, you never let me down. You always know what's inside, and you know when I get tired and I can't go on. It's you, yes, it's you. I get from you, yeah. Oh, at night, oh, when I leave, come for me, yeah. Oh, sweet love. Seem small to me. You gave me the strength, no matter how it ends. I can count on you. Nothing just happens. You'll always there. Yes, como sandali quando mamma scendera pombale. Oh, because you always there. Oh, it's not about, oh, it's about who, oh, I put you on. As I sleep, oh, in my very dreams, oh, yes, you, oh, no matter what I can do, I just call, I can do, I just call, I can do with you anything, yes. I can be, I can see, yes, what I need, oh, with you, oh, you're always there, Rincompassion there on fire, we have pardon, here on me, you there, yes, you're there. Yes, ooh, yeah. Yes. Ooh, baby.
Chandra, before you do another song, tell everybody what your upcoming, if you got any upcoming announcements. I know you got two. I know you've got a Thanksgiving concert coming up.
Yes, I have a Thanksgiving concert coming up. It's the 24th. It's at St. James Live. If you've never been there, it's a beautiful club. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite venues because it has a big stage. And, yes, and I can have a real big band. There's all that crazy stuff. But it's going to be great. It's going to be a great celebration. I'm going to bring in the holiday. Like, I'll have some Christmas stuff mixed in with some other stuff. And we're just going to have a great time. And awesome. I do have one song that I'm finally going to do, a tribute to Aretha Franklin. So come on. I haven't done that. So I'm going to do that. I'm looking forward to doing that. Thank you, Bishop. And here we are, down here on earth.
You might stand up for this.
Know that everything you do down here matters. We got to treat each other right down here. We got to love each other down here. Everybody talking about they want to go to heaven, but what about down here? One thing or another trying to bring me down, but I'm standing on solid ground down here. Ooh, talking about right here, down here. If I work here on your behalf, you will give love that forever lasts down here. Ooh, talking about right here, down here. Woo! Put your hands together. I'll be the light, I'll get it right, I'll fight the fight, 'cause that's the price down here, right here, down here. Who had the chance, but didn't do me right? Oh, but to forgive, I will win the fight down here. Whoa, right here, down here. Woo! I've got to be that everlasting light. I've got to treat my friends and family right down here. Whoa, right here, down here. Woo! I'll be the light, I'll get it right, I'll fight the fight, 'cause that's the price down here, yes, right here, down here. You're giving me all that I need to see the light of day. Yes, I have to go through to be there for you, to show me a highway. Down here. Oh, say what? I'll be the light, I'll get it right, the good fight, I'll fight the fight, 'cause that's the price down here, yes, right here, down here. You're giving me all that I need to see the light of day. Yes, I have to go through to be there for you, to show me a brighter way. Oh, down here, oh, down here, oh, down here, yes. Heaven on earth. Oh, down here, yes. Oh, down here, yes. Oh, down here, yes. Oh, yes. On earth, yes. I'm gonna be oh, my best. Right here on earth. Right here on earth. Right, bring it up. Hey, bring it back. Salt and light, salt and light, salt and light, salt and light. Oh, yes. Down here. Da-da-da-bum-bum, yeah. Say, yeah, bum. You giving me all that I need to see the light of day. Yes, I have to go through to be there for you, to show me a higher way.
Shonda Corelli!
That's what Bishop told me.
Shonda Corelli! That's a pro right there. Thanks so much, Chandra and Larry, for being here today with us. You may be seated. Good stuff. I love it. Oh man, I got so much to tell you. So let me let me try to get it all in my mind the way I want to say it all to you. Let's see, which one do I want to do first? Let me go ahead and say that the tickets for the Christmas event, which will be Tuesday, December 18th, are now available. There's no advantage to buying them early. It just helps us and the caterer. What did we decide, Avery, was the cutoff date for that? The 13th. So that'll give them time to know exactly how much food to buy, and it'll let other people actually enjoy the party without having to figure out how to buy your tickets. I mean, it's, like I said, it's $30. Believe me. Ken didn't want you to know he did this, but he made a contribution to it that's offset the ticket price for you, and I'm going to make a contribution. Some of you might want to. So, because otherwise, these venues, these places I take you to, they're at the top of the line in Atlanta. And so, but I also want to make it affordable for you as well. So it's going to be great. And, you know, some of you that maybe are Facebook friends with her, Hannah, who of Zest Catering, you know, she had kidney stones this week and still hasn't passed them. She's got to go in for surgery next week. But today's her birthday, actually. She had a real miracle because it was really touch and go there for a few hours. But then last night, I don't mean to be laughing at this, but I've been in contact with, like, the one morning that I did a meditation about fear not, you have to be, is because Dana had just texted me. He said, I'm not trying to be afraid, but there's infection in her blood, and they're saying this is touch and go. So I wrote that for him, you know, and he said, you have no idea. It just saved our life. Well, then last night we were at Chattanooga, and I guess you looked at your Facebook feed, and there was a shooter at DeKalb Hospital where she was. So I texted him. I said, are y'all okay? And he said, yeah, we're home. Why? I said, so I called him. I said, there's a shooter that's apparently, I guess they apprehended him. He didn't shoot anybody. He was taking somebody hostage. But I said, dear God, I've prayed for y'all every day this week. And now I'm like, there's a freaking shooter there now. So y'all are wearing me out. He was laughing. He said, that is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard. He's like, I got to tell Hannah right now. I said, no, we're fine. No, I said, if y'all been fired upon now after all this, I said, I don't know. I just don't know what else to say to you people. But anyway, they're fine. She's going to get through it, and she lived to see another. You know, there's one thing about nearly dying right before your birthday. It really makes you appreciate that you lived to see another one. You know, it's like, this could actually be the happiest birthday you've ever had. So there's that. But it's going to be at Rhodes Hall. That's the castle on Peachtree. And Judah's going to be there we're going to do Christmas karaoke. So this is your chance to shine. And it's your chance. This could be your big break. I didn't want to say anything, but there are going to be people from American Idol there who are going to be scouting. So, you know, bring your A game because you never know. And we have the, you know, when we had Callenwald, we actually really only had that one room technically. But this, we have the entire mansion, and it's going to be, and I think this year what we're going to do, Avery, I don't think let's don't deal with valet parking because they actually have plenty of parking. It's across the street behind the thing, but it's safe and it's lit and everything. So I think we'll just do that instead of trying to add the expense of a valet park. Like last year at La Maison Rouge, I have to have it there because there's just no parking there. So this will be. I'm real excited about it. And let me just say, now that we're into November, it's okay to listen to Christmas music. And if you want to do that, don't let some Grinch rain on your parade. I was putting together my little Christmas playlist this morning, and you know, I was playing stuff, and I thought, you know, this really releases a lot of dopamine into my brain. I mean, this is like a lot of happiness here. Now, I can't do it before Halloween. That's just, the Bible speaks out against that. But was it last Saturday, Ken? I said, I need you to help me clean this place up. So he said, I'll do it, but I got to listen to Christmas music. And I said, you know what? If it'll get the job done, bring it on. So, but now it's okay to listen to it. So the holidays have officially started, so don't let anybody steal that from you. You know, time's going so fast now. You might as well just milk it for all you can, because you blink and it'll be 2019. So all these people say, I'm not ready for Christmas music. I'm like, well, it's going to be over with in a nanosecond, so shut up. I hate you. Our Living Your Best Life last week was, I know, Michelle, I'm not doing this in any order, so you're just having to just stay with me. It was eating your colors, eating the colors of the rainbow. And actually we had a lot of good stuff that people... I like it because it inspires you and gives you ideas of, and you know, it's like I said to you last week, it's important. Your plate should look colorful. There's a reason why vegetables are different colors. Green vegetables have chlorophyll in them. Orange vegetables have beta carotene. Yellow vegetables have vitamin A. There's a reason why they are that color. So that's why I was using the hashtag Eat the Rainbow. But a lot of you really participated in this. This week's going to be another health one. I want you to concentrate on vitamin C, this is what with vitamin C. I want you to think outside the box a little bit. Don't just show a picture of an orange. There's C is in other things besides citrus. So like even this morning, I was Googling the top like 20 foods that have C in them, and citrus was nearly down at the bottom. There's other things that have actually more. You know, we usually associate oranges and lemons and grapefruit, which those are great, but there's C in a lot of C in broccoli and Brussels sprouts, a lot of different things. So I want you to use your imagination. Do it. It's, you know, with Google now, it's just so you have so much information. I mean, you can say, Siri, what foods have vitamin C? And I mean, she'll tell you. And you know, I already asked her, and she told me. I said, would you tell them? She said, yeah, just tell them to ask, and I'll tell them. Or Alexa, or whoever you're talking to. So that's this week, and thank you that y'all are figuring out how to use the hashtags. And hashtags, like I said, are like a phone number. You have to have that exact sequence of numbers or digits or whatever. So, and y'all got that now, so that's good. Our outreach this month, we're giving to the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. You know, I didn't say a lot about that. I didn't really even post anything about it online because the atmosphere is so fraught right now that even when you just say something about people being shot, you just invite somebody's going to make a smart aleck remark, and then somebody on the other side is going to say something, and before you know it, there's a gun control argument going on your page. I'm like, y'all need to take that to your page. Nobody changes anybody's minds with that. All it does is it makes everybody resent the other side. So I would rather be proactive and say, well, you know, this one really broke my heart because I guess because it's called Tree of Life. It's like that. Oh, that one was rough. And the thing about, I mean, all violence is horrible. I'm not saying that the random shootings are any better. However, you know, when that guy went into Mother Emanuel Church, he specifically went in to kill African Americans. When that guy went into the club in Orlando, he specifically went in to kill gay people. This guy specifically said, I hate Jews. So there is a different dimension that makes it a little worse, if you will, because it's not just crazy random crime. It's like, wow, that's an actual hate crime that people need to pay attention to. I'm in another dimension. I'm past arguing with people about stuff. I will be voting. I got to vote Tuesday because my polling place is across the street from my house, but they don't do early voting there. So and it's fine. There's just something. I have more flexibility with my time. There is something about actually going on election day that I kind of like the energy of that. But I know not everybody has that luxury with their time. So I'm glad that it's like. When was it, Friday? I took some food out to Mom and Dad's, and I drove by the library there on Ponce. I have never in my life seen, it looked like Six Flags lines. People up on the way out there and on the way back, people were lined up. I know it had to have been a 3-hour line people were standing there. I have never seen that in growing up in this community. So I'm seeing that as a positive. At least people are being engaged. So I will be, I love that across the street from my building is the Center for Civil and Human Rights, which I think personally I brought it there. I think it was my energy that brought it. I'm just saying that. Like when people say, I'm so glad it's here, I'm like, you're welcome. Yeah. It was like when Dr. Dispenza came to Atlanta, he actually came virtually across the street from me. It's like, well, across the Centennial Park from me, but I was sitting there at lunch with people that had flown in from New Zealand. There were people there from Norway. People have flown in from all around the world. So they said, well, where are you from? And I said, see out that window right there? See the top of that red brick building like that? They said, oh, you walked over here? I said, actually, I brought him here. I thought, subliminally, because I thought I want to go see it. I want to go see him, but I don't want to fly to Hawaii to do it. Come to Atlanta. And then I go in line, I'll be in Atlanta. I'm like, thank you. So maybe it's a fluke, maybe it's not. Some people heard thunder, other people said it was an angel speaking. You be the judge. So we'll be giving to Tree of Life this month, and also I know this is no sequence here. We're not going to go out to Eatonton for Thanksgiving this year, but I think what we will do the Sunday before Thanksgiving, which is the what? The 18th? Yeah. We're gonna, if I would just turn around, I would see, there it is. We're going to walk over to Opry Diem. We've done that a couple times before, and we're going to rent the whole lounge in there, and you can just order it won't be turkey and dressing, but it's like it's the thought that counts. You can do your turkey later, but we'll do that, and we have a chance for everybody to talk about what they're thankful for. And those are, we've had heaven has come down in that lounge on many, many occasions. I mean, it's really, for me, other people see it as a bar. I see it as the upper room. I mean, it's like when there's something about going into the energy in that room. So many amazing things have happened there. And so I wasn't sure we were going to do anything for Thanksgiving. I thought, oh, what the hey. I actually said, what the hey. And so we're doing that. Let's see. I did Thanksgiving, Christmas. Yeah, I think that is everything. All right. Are you ready for the word? Yes, absolutely. It was a week. It was a week. We ready for the podcast, people? Okay. Hey, Charles, that picture you did of your son on the 3D, that was so cool. I mean, it's a great picture of him anyway, but just the effect, it was really, really cool. I gotta start doing that. All right. Are we ready? Welcome to the Metron Live podcast, coming to you from Metron in historic Midtown Atlanta. Metron people, give the podcast people a hand. And every 2 or 3 days, I get another great message from somebody in some other part of the world that says they just love the podcast. Podcast is a totally different thing from the YouTube videos, because podcasts, they're on your phone. You don't even have to do anything. It's like if you just get the app, it will tell you when one is ready for you to listen to. And I think they're very powerful. So I appreciate the team that helps do that, especially Charles. Listen, before I get into my teaching today, I want to address something. Last Sunday, Fred stood up and said something that I both texted him and wrote on his Facebook page. I said, you spoke prophetically today. And the thing about a prophetic word is a real prophetic word will shake you up. I mean, it will, not in a negative way, but it will, like, sometimes when a prophetic word is spoken, you feel something shift in your foundation. And I'm not qualifying what he said. Fred's been an ordained minister. He's a grown man. I don't have to speak for him. I want to add to what he said. I applaud him for his bravery in what he said, and I also applaud you for your maturity in receiving it. Because he made the statement, we don't need Jesus anymore. Well, you say that in some places, there's some Christians' heads going to explode. And of course, he was saying it within the context when he and Roz were in Cherokee. They had talked to some Native American people, and the Cherokees there were telling them what their sort of credo was about feeding the hungry, and I mean, it basically was Matthew 5, what they said to him. And Roz had even posted something about, this is just, that's not exclusive to the Bible. People talk about this Judeo-Christian ethic. That ethic's, it's in the world. The Jews and the Christians weren't the only ones that tapped into that. And it's really smug and arrogant of Christians to think that they're the only ones that have the inside track on stuff like that. I mean, it's basically the Ten Commandments is just every culture in the world embraces. That's just, a given. What he was saying, and I wouldn't change a word of what he said because it needed to be, it was prophetic. He was just bold. He said it. He didn't apologize for it. He didn't qualify for it. That's the way a prophet speaks. But I want to say some things about it because on the way out, Doc Sheila was talking to me. She said, "Did you actually hear what Freddie just said?" I said, "Yeah, it's a trip, isn't it?" And she said, "It's just amazing that everybody received it." I said, "Well, I see that as a very good sign." And then later she texted me. We were talking a little bit more about it, and she was talking about Acts 15 when the apostles decided that people coming into Christianity didn't have to go through Judaism first. You remember there's a big issue about whether the men had to be circumcised or whatever, and it was a completely different concept. What he was saying, and again, I'm not qualifying it, but the pastor in me wants to expound on it, is basically what I have said for the last year or so, is that I'm not trivializing the blood sacrifice of Jesus. I'm saying that if you didn't think you were fallen, it wouldn't be necessary for you. And really is what, in Genesis, what God is implying when he says, "Who told you you were naked?" He could just as easily have said, "Who told you you needed a Savior?" But if Adam thought he was fallen, then he was fallen. You are what you think. I mean, you just are. I mean, even when Jesus came along and he said, "You've heard it said, don't put away your wife except for adultery. I say if you've even fantasized about adultery, you're an adulterer." What he was saying is that the internal world is what's real. And what I see on the upside is if I think of myself as a millionaire, I am a millionaire. If I think of myself as successful, I am successful. I mean, that's just basically that's just all in the scriptures. I do want to say, however, for lack of a better term, defense of Jesus. Jesus' coming was not just about going to the cross. I mean, to me, the most important part for me, the Jesus that I love, because I don't feel fallen. I don't feel, redemption to me is a state of mind that I bought into at one time, but that's not necessary for me now. Robert, I only look at every third or fourth of Robert's posts because he is prodigious in his posting. But he did post something, I guess this morning, where he showed a picture of the baby that they adopted, Adam, he showed him next to his hand, and he was smaller than his hand. They don't know who the daddy was, and the mother was a meth addict who gave the baby. The hospital called him and Robbie Joe and said, "This baby's going to die, and it's just sad to see a baby die of himself. Would you just come be here for the death?" And Robert technically raised him from the dead, and he's a beautiful baby now. I mean, like it's amazing. But what he said was, there was a time this baby needed an incubator and certain drugs or whatever. He said that might not have been what I would have chosen for him, but that's what got him to this point that he doesn't need now. And he said, that's the way I feel about religion. Like I needed it at one point, and I thought, man, you've posted some stuff that I'm like, Robert, whatever, but on that one, okay, thank you. You nailed it. And that baby to me seems very, I'm overusing the word prophetic, but prophetic in that we all kind of were there. When you keep hearing people say, you're not good enough, God's displeased with you, you buy into that, and it even bleeds into worship. I mean, you listen to even some of the stuff we used to do at Church in the Now. I mean, I didn't want to, whoever worked for me, whether it was Jimmy or anybody, John or I always wanted to give them creative freedom, so I let them choose whatever songs they wanted to choose. But there are certain lyrics that even then I was like, I can't. Like we'd start with, this is the air I breathe. And I'm like, I'm with you. This is the air. Like, oh, this is good. This is good. And then when we get to, I'm desperate for you. I'm like, oh, you just lost me. Because I don't feel desperate for God. I'm in God. God's connected with me. God's in me. There's no struggle in me to please Him or whatever. Like that's just not even in my mind. And I appreciate the faith movement helped me get to that point because, when I sat under teachings like Fred Price and Kenneth Copeland and what. Oh, yeah, you can hardly see, but I think he weighed like 2 pounds, and that's Robert's hand. But anyway, thanks, Michelle. But I'm glad that they taught me righteousness consciousness because it was a great segue to where I am now. But see, in the Pentecostal church, we were so afraid we were going to teach what we thought the Baptist taught was eternal security. We taught no security at all. Like we used to go every Sunday night to the altar and get saved over and over and over and over again. And, I remember even as a child, I fully thought this, that, when you got saved, your name got written in a book, and then if you thought something bad or said a 4-letter word, he erased your name out, and then when you got it right, he wrote it back in, and you just hope that on the day you die, it's one of those days you're in the entry. And it's such an absurd thought, but that was never said to me, but that was the dots I connected when I heard, and especially when you know something about yourself, when you think, oh, what I'm supposed to be feeling about little girls, I feel about little boys, and like, oh my God, that's going to send me to hell. That'll keep you up at night with every normal thought that, think about how much boys think about growing up. Well, you think about that whether you're gay or straight. Whew, it'll wear you out with, he's cute. Oh, I rebuke this in Jesus' name. I take authority over it. I'll never think. It's just, it's exhausting. And then when you finally get to the place you realize, oh, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made and God didn't make any mistakes and I am who I am or whatever. It's a complete paradigm shift. So back to what Fred said. To me, really the most important thing Jesus did is when he just shifted everybody's paradigm and said, you have heard it said, but I say. That's huge because the people then and the people now are addicted to what they heard said. To me, that was the most important thing Jesus did when he said, I know this has been said, but in all due respect to Moses and everybody who said it, this is what I say. And see, even now, people, you got all these Bible huggers that they're not interested in what God is saying now. They just have chapter and verse for everything. Well, this is what was said. This is what was said. This is what was said. I don't even engage in it anymore. I see other people that are kind of in the same flow with me that get into the fray with people on social media and argue about it. I'm like, I'm not even, look, if you think you're under condemnation, go with it. There's plenty of churches that will take your money and that will prey on your fears and your feelings of unworthiness. I'm telling you, even something like, we don't have a huge budget here, but we've been here for 5 years, and I take a salary. I compensate the tech team. We pay rent here. We pay insurance here. We pay the singers. There's a good bit of outgo. It's not, it's a budget that would, be a pretty healthy small church. And the fact that we've been here for 5 years, every Thursday, I would, Avery gives me the thing, we got money, yeah, we got money, okay. That's kind of amazing because I've never one time told you a tree's going to fall on your house if you don't tithe. I've just said, if you believe in what we're doing and you want to invest in it, buy into it. But that's a huge paradigm shift. I can't tell you, I'm spending more time on this than I meant to, but I can't tell you, even back in the day, some of mega church pastors who would tell me off the record, I believe everything that you say, but it'll cost me too much financially. I actually had a guy, I won't say his name because every one of you would know him, but he said, you can't make any money without the devil. He actually said that to me. He said, if you don't scare people with the devil, they're not going to tithe. And I said, I'm going to need to not believe you just said that, because that's the scariest thing I've ever heard said. I'm not scared of demons. I'm scared of what you just said. It's like I said, I'm going to have to leave this table because I'm wanting to grab a microphone and go to your people and say, you guys need to run for your life. There's a con man that's calling himself a pastor. He didn't even believe what he's preaching to you. But it's many of them. And it's a paradigm shift to say, not only are you not under condemnation, I'm not even going to be mad at you if you don't give. I'm just saying, you have heard it said, I'm under a curse if I don't tithe. But I say, welcome to the party. Buy into it. It's good. Plan on talking about finances. It'd be a good time to take an offering. Every head bowed, every eye closed. What I'm saying is, it takes a strong statement like that, because if you ask Fred, do you really think we don't need Jesus? Of course, off the record, he's going to say, well, yeah, we love Jesus. Nobody's mad at Jesus. But his word needed to cut through like that. It needed to be said exactly like it was said. And again, kudos to you for getting it. Because there was a time, if somebody had stood up and said, we don't need Jesus, my email inbox would have been filled with, not at all now, like y'all are like, amen. We don't need him. Like, well, y'all might need him a little bit. Come on now. But exactly what he said. I mean, it's this. Let me tell you what's exciting to me. Would I love there to be 2,000, 3,000 people here? I can't honestly say that I would. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. You know what really makes me happy is that I can come in here, was it a month before last, when I taught probably the strongest message I've ever taught about personal responsibility. I mean, I took God and the devil out of the equation. I said, it's all you. You created your life. And I'm saying it to people who I know are dealing with serious stuff in their life. It's not like everybody's like, la, 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 we have perfect lives. No, I know the stuff that you deal with. And every one of you was like, whew, thank you, sir, may I have another? And I'm like, wow. That was, I don't think I got chills just thinking about it. That month before last month was great. We needed the meditation, and we're going to do some meditation this month. But that teaching, and not just the teaching, the reception of that teaching was a shift. I mean, it really was what they call a sea change. And it still doesn't mean everything's perfect in your life. It means, all right, I'm creating it all then. I mean, do you realize how early on we started Metron? Leah, I've said this before, but I love this. Leona said, where else could we go? She said, we can't go to some church where they're teaching kindergarten stuff. We're grown folk. And once you've heard grown-up stuff, you can't go, it's cute. Like we were walking through the mall last night and they had a little playground in the mall. And I said, well, man, that's such a great idea because it was like, it was fenced in and like people that are tired of shopping and just sit down and let their kids run, get the energy out. For someone who had small kids in malls, I said, man, where was that when my kids? Well, that's a great idea. But I don't want to, there wasn't anything in me that said, can we go in there and play right now? Like, no. And that's the way I feel about religion. I'm like, oh, I get it. That's adorable. That is so cute. But I'm past that now. But I don't want to live life without God or without Spirit. God and Spirit is more important to me now than ever. And can you say the name of Jesus? Yes. I noticed Wellington sent me. Is that a weekly message you send out? Whatever you sent me a messenger. And it was very powerful what he said, but I noticed he said, "I greet you in the name of the I Am," and I thought, fair enough, I get that. That works for me. But don't think you can't say Jesus, even though that's really not his name now. I mean, we're in the now. John says, "I saw someone, but he had a name that nobody knew, but he himself." So, I know. I tell you what's going to, can I Can I hit you again? What if you get and you meet him and he says, my name's Karen? I mean, what if that's what he meant when he said, I was in prison and you visited me? And furthermore, and then I'll get to my message. When Doc Sheila and I were discussing Fred's word last week, I said, well, think about it. Jesus is the one who said, it's necessary that I go away. So a whole bunch of Christianity basically is Mary Magdalene in the garden holding on to him, saying, we want you to be who you were. And they need the image of a long-haired man with a robe and sandals because that's as far as they've gone. And now you're in a place where God's everywhere. You know, God's just everywhere. And it not only doesn't disrespect Jesus, it's exactly what he was saying. Like, this is why it's necessary that I go away, so that you won't just limit your idea of God to this 33-year-old Israeli man. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Drive safe. Did I say it right, Fred? And he didn't. Please don't get me wrong. I wasn't defending Fred. You know what I'm saying? It's my duty to really judge a prophetic word. Like, all right, I judge it as prophetic. Let me give you an interpretation. Whew, we got the gifts of the Spirit going on up in here. Jesus. You could call his name. Well, I'm telling you, we call his name with every good thing. Where did we pull in yesterday? And there was parking spaces everywhere. I said, just look at him. Just look at Jesus all over this parking lot. All right, now, and I'm sure podcast people are like, can we get to the subject now? No, it was good, podcast people. You needed it. All right. We're staying in the flow of meditation this month, but I want to do a little more teaching. The title this month is The Secret Place of the Most High, The Manifested Miracles of the Meditative Life. Of course, I'm going to use the 91st Psalm. David wrote most of the Psalms. Moses wrote this one. First verse. This is the New King James Version, and it's beautiful poetry. I would rank it up that, most people would say their favorite passage. If you ask the general public of people with some Bible knowledge, they're going to say 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. I would rank this up with it. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. It's just a beautiful imagery. Remember when I taught about Sophia wisdom and the female side of God? This is actually, when you read all of the chapter, it's really God in the feminine, because it talks about God being like a mother. It says, under his wings shall you trust. But if you've ever seen, I remember years ago when I was in school in Lakeland, I was out praying early one morning. There were ducks everywhere. And there was one by the side, and she looked all swollen, and she was kind of trembling, and I thought, oh man, something's wrong with this bird. And I was trying to help her. And she lifted up her wing, and all like 15 little ducklings swam out. I'd never seen that in person before, but all of this imagery, this isn't a exegesis of the 91st Psalm, but all of it is about God being a mother. It says under his wings, it should say under her wings shall you trust, because it's the maternal side of God. God really is genderless. God is as male as he, she, it is female. And see, that's another thing. You say that in some places, they just, they need to think God has a penis. And, the idea that God is gender neutral it's very next level for people. Well, Freddie opened up prophetic words. Now y'all got me talking nasty. Well, Bishop, you're so nasty. But I had to say it that way, or otherwise it wouldn't have the impact. Freddie started it. Well, okay. But it says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Let me show it to you in the New Living Version. It says, he who lives in the safe place of the Most High will be in the shadow of the All-Powerful. What I love about is this idea of God having a place of secrecy, of intimacy, of something that you have with God that you can't even explain to anybody else. It's like he's everybody's God. It's everybody's God. But there's something you have with, and I'm just going to say him because that's what we're used to saying. There's something you have with him that really is unique to you. And I'll tell you this, until you know the secret place of the Most High, you've really never known God. If you're hitchhiking on somebody else's spirituality, you know their idea of God. And then there's another psalm. This is Psalm 25, verse 14. In the King James Version, it says, "The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him." In the Passion Translation, it says, "There's a private place reserved for the lovers of God, where they sit near him and receive the revelation secrets of his promises." Isn't that beautiful? There's something that you have. You know, this is how you know when you've got a relationship with somebody. It's something that you have with them that you don't have with anybody else. The idea of marriage, the idea of fidelity in marriage is, you know, maybe I'll look at other people, maybe you see other people, maybe you flirt with other people, but there's something we have that's just us. There's just intimacy with us. Or maybe it's somebody that's a friend of yours that you have private jokes like Ken's such a good sport, because when we were up at Howie's last week after we left Cherokee, we went up to see with him, and you know, we're driving around for hours in the mountains, and I've known Howie since I was 17. He was 17. I was 18. So we have a lot of history and can just finish each other's sentences or say some little phrase of some stupid thing that if I explained to you why that was funny, you would not think it was funny, but it's still funny to my inner 18-year-old. And sometimes I feel like this is really excluding you because and he actually said, and I've lived with Ken long enough to know he's truthful. So when he says something, he really means it. He says, "No, I just love driving around and listening to y'all talk about the old times." I said, "Really? Do you?" Because I would if it was two other people, I would be like, "Can we talk about something that includes me in the conversation?" He said, "No, I actually like hearing, you know." And I said, "All right, I'm just going to believe that you're all right, fine," because we're not. I mean, Howie adores him. Howie's always said, if you ever break up with him, we're all keeping Ken. You know, so I'm like, I get it. You're not the first person that's told me that. But there's certain things, you know. Sometimes Howie and I'll go for weeks and not talk to each other, and I'll think of something that was funny, and I'll just text him a line, and we'll be like doubled over laughing but there'd be no, if I took the time to explain it to you, you'd be like, really? That was funny? Like, well, you had to have been there at that time then, and you know, but that's how you have something with somebody that's just, that's the little circle that's around the two of you. This is why, let me just say this, to anybody that deals with insecurity or anything like this, look, there's enough love to go around. Just because somebody has something with somebody else doesn't mean they don't have affection for you. Even, this seems like a small thing, and I wouldn't even post anything about it, but like when we go somewhere and we're posting pictures, inevitably, and there was 2 or 3 of them yesterday, somebody will say, "I'm so jealous that y'all are there." And I think, I know you're just saying that, but why wouldn't you look at somebody having a good time and your first impulse be, "Oh my God, that's such a great picture. It looks like you're having such a good time. We love that place." Because that's what I think. When I see somebody in a place that I've either been or want to go, it never occurs to me to say, "I'm so jealous." I just think, "Oh, wow, that's awesome. I'm glad I can see the pictures and I don't have to get on a plane and fly over." You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, whew. You did the heavy lifting on this. I'm just enjoying it vicariously through you. And if anybody's watching this, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just saying, examine why you say things like that. Why wouldn't you celebrate when something good happens for somebody? It's just such a waste of time to feel inferior to somebody else. Understand that you have to understand this person has something with that person that has nothing to do with me, and if I love this person, I have to build my own, I have to find something with them instead of, you know, feeling like I'm not getting enough attention. Because I'm telling you, Let me tell you how relationships work, and I don't know why somebody's pulling this out of me. The more you need that, you try to, I need that secret place with you, it actually repels the person. Ladies, can I say something about the way, at least for straight men, how their brain works? Nothing makes a man want to spend time with you less than saying, you never want to spend any time with me. That so does not work in the male brain. Straight men, don't listen to this. I'm talking. All the single ladies. Okay, let me just say it. Now listen. Shh, men, don't listen. Watch the ball game. Listen. If you want the man to want to be with you, go make some plans and get all fixed up. Be putting on your makeup and he was, where are you going? I'm just going out for a little bit. Even if it's just going out with the girls or going, why are you putting lipstick on? I don't know. I just felt, where you going, baby? Come on. You ain't got to go. I'm telling you, men they're real easy. It's not rocket science. But when you go, I just wish he would spend more time with me. I'm telling you, even if he's holding you, in his head he's thinking, dear God, I've got to get away. That's not the way it works. And yeah. All right. Settle down. Settle down, people. But the thing is about having something with somebody that's unique to them, that's organic. You can't make it happen. And if that chemistry isn't there to create that thing with somebody, you can't make it happen. That's why and unfortunately in the past this has been misinterpreted as me being aloof, and I'm not. I really deeply care about people. But I also believe if you don't get it, I can't make you get it. Do you know what I mean? That's why, like, there's people that come here for a while and then leave. I don't chase after them. And it's not that, I know Jesus and the 90 and 9. I understand that whole piece. And if I think somebody's really in trouble, of course I will. But I'm so focused on, you have to get it. You can't be here because I shamed you into it or made you feel obligated or whatever. I have to keep, in all these years that y'all been driving here, I know most of you, this isn't your neighborhood. I'm telling you, there hasn't been one time that I've walked into this theater and thought, this is just amazing that these people do this every week. I never take it for granted. I've never thought, y'all better recognize. I don't even think that way. I think it's worth it. I feel like I'm going to give you something that was worth you driving here for, but I never take it for granted. And that just kind of bleeds through in every part of my life, I remember, I've shared this with you before, but speaking of prophetic words, back in the day, a lot of y'all wouldn't even remember who Andre Crouch was, but Andre Crouch was a big deal back in the day. And I remember he wrote a song called If Heaven Was Never Promised to Me, It Would Be Worth Serving the Lord. And that just messed with my head because I thought, what the what? Because I was raised thinking this whole thing's about trying not to go to hell. I mean, that was my whole modus operandi. I was like, just don't burn me. I never, these kids that corporal punishment doesn't work on. Like I've had people say, I tried to spank my kid and it just made him more aggressive. I'm like, I've never understood that. Like with my kid, my parents, they were old school. And I was like, if it's tears you want, it's tears you got. I don't need to prove some point. I can turn, I promise I'll never do it again. If that's if that will keep that belt in your belt loops and not on my butt, what you want. But I've heard people say, well, Christina was kind of that way. I mean, the last time I ever spanked, I never took a belt to them, but I popped her a couple times. I couldn't get her to settle down, and I realized with her temperament, she just took it as a challenge. She just got aggressive. Like, she popped me back, and I was like, I can't. She's like this little tiny girl. I can't get into some physical thing with her. I thought this isn't going to work. With the boys, I could threaten them, and they would settle right down. Not with her. She was like, "Bring it on, Daddy," and I was like, "This, I've got to find another way because spanking's not going to work for this one. It's just not." And I mean, it was a turning point. I never did it again. And it's like this is ineffective with her because I mean, I'm sure I'm big enough I could win, but that's I don't want DFACs calling me saying the neighbors are concerned. So anyway. I love several translations, but I like this imagery of God having, a place of intimacy that's just yours. Going back to some of the really awesome things that Jesus said prophetically, one of which was, even the hairs of your head are numbered, meaning God has such intimate knowledge of you. David would say things like, "You know my down sitting and my uprising. There's not a word in my tongue that you don't know altogether. If I were to number the sands of the sea, they are more. Your thoughts are more than that." And that's why the Scripture calls David a man after God's own heart. Why? Because God picked him out? No, because David thought he was a man after God's own heart. David really thought he was special. And guess what? He got treated special. Now, some stuff happened to him that he brought on himself. But listen, whoever and whatever God is, you're determining what that deity is going to do for you. God's not just arbitrarily picking out people, to bless. I'm going to bless this one, not bless. That's kind of my issue with, I love praise reports, but when somebody gives a praise report and says, with Gary and Christine, their neighbors' houses were just wiped out. Theirs wasn't. It wasn't in their mind to say, "Oh, God blessed us so much." Because if their neighbors read that, that's like, well, what's wrong with us? Why, why is God like it? So it's okay to say, "I'm so happy my house was preserved" or whatever, but don't just make it about like God arbitrarily hit you with the magic wand, because there's other people that say, "Well, why didn't it happen for me?" There is. So I believe in talking up the good stuff, but think about how you say it. Now, if personally you feel like, I can't say this out loud, but I really think I'm God's favorite, then fine, think that. Just don't tell other people that. Because if you really think that, the word favor and favorite, they're the same word. So if you talk about I'm walking in favor, you're saying is I'm God's favorite. And the good news is we can all be God's favorite. It's not an either or. But you have to be aware of how you sound to other people. It takes some maturity and some distance between things that you've said. You can look back and go, "Oh, you know what? I needed some instruction on that." And it's very liberating to realize, oh, I'm still growing. I went through a thing, what has it been, 3 years ago now with TFAM, when I was out there, that I said some things that in a bishop's meeting that I felt like I got wrongly judged for, and it really affected my relationship. But honestly, now I'm enough down the road that I think, you know what, without some of not Bishop Flunder, because she knew me, but without some of those people knowing me, I understand why they heard what I said. And it was a teachable moment for me. And it took me a while to get past the wounding of it. And let me explain, maybe I need to say this. When you know what your history is, you assume everybody else knows that. I've actually had to have this talk with Judah a couple times, because Judah grew up in obviously a diverse world where he grew up with African American friends. And sometimes when he's out, when he was younger, he would say things, never racial things, but like trying to feel more endeared to young black men who don't know who he is. And I would say, Judah, I know you're taken for granted that you can get by with saying things like that, but these guys didn't grow up with you. They just see you as a smart-ass white boy. And you're trying to say, no, I'm not like these other white guys. I said, you're wasting your time because there's no way they're going to know that. I've dealt with that with sometimes with men on the street that I will say, no, I don't have any change today or whatever, and they've gone off and say, oh, white people are sorry or whatever. And I think I could stand here and explain to you, I've probably helped more African Americans financially in my life than you ever will. But there's no way I can make you understand that, because you're standing here out on the street. You just seem, I'm the face of white privilege, and I'm just the indifferent white guy that doesn't care about your plight. And I can't make you. There's no way I can make you see otherwise than that. So I'm just going to either have to give you the money or just keep going. And I don't know why I'm saying that. Why was I saying that? There was some segue to about learning how you learning how you give your praise reports. Because that was really, even honestly, I'm to a place now, and I'm not going to remove the YouTube videos or anything, but I don't know that I would even do my riff on The Color Purple now like I used to do it, because times are different now. You know what I mean? It's like everything's very ratcheted up right now, and you know, I'm like, I don't know that I could get by with that. Like, I'm in a safe place with people who know me, can obviously see my affection for the movie, because I can quote it from, you know, I've clearly seen it a bazillion times, and a lot of back in the day when I would go to all black churches, it was a real icebreaker for me, because I would go in and they, you know, I could tell them clearly the first white man that's ever preached here, and I do, you know, you told Hoppo to beat me, and immediately everybody's laughing, but you know, things have changed in the last couple of years, and you have to discern the times and not be insensitive, because there's some things, you know, you could say, you know, like I was watching Blazing Saddles the other day, and you know, Richard Pryor wrote half that movie. Richard Pryor was one of the main, but you couldn't make that movie now. You know, there's no way you could make that movie now, and people joking about saying the N-word and stuff, like, no, that was a different, in a galaxy far, far away. So you have to discern your times, but also you have to discern how you're wearing your Christianity, because you can really make people feel horrible about themselves if it's all about. Let me say it this way: I believe in letting your light shine, but not in a way that blinds other people. Do you understand? I can light a candle, or I could stick a flashlight in your face. That's not. Those are two different concepts. Lighting a candle says, follow me, let me show you, let me live my life and show you by example how you can create your own reality and all this kind of stuff. But I don't want to rub my blessings in your face either. All right. I think I made that point. Now, let's get to the meditation part. Let me tell you, even what little bit of meditation that we've done or that you've done on your own or whatever, it's helped you more than you even know. I'm telling you. I mean, meditation changes brain chemistry. I don't know how to, I can't explain to you how it does. It does in ways that prayer doesn't. I'm not anti-prayer, but prayer has a specific focus on it. I need this to happen. And I'm not mad at prayer. I mean, this week when Hannah went in the hospital, Dana texted me and he said, please pray. He used the word P-R-A-Y. And I said, prayer's going up right now, because I understood what he was saying. This isn't the time to split hairs and be semantics about sending good vibes or whatever. Like, this is a desperate situation. The word prayer has a gravitas to it that I need you to grasp right now. Got it. However, prayer is you trying to say what you want to happen, which isn't altogether wrong. But you can, I mean, Paul talked about praying amiss quite a bit. Somebody yesterday, maybe somebody in the, I can't remember who it was, might be somebody in the cyber audience, texted me and said, I was kind of praying and meditating yesterday, and then I started just groaning. I couldn't even say anything, and this this sort of sound came out of me I've never heard before. So I just texted back Romans 8:26, groanings that cannot be uttered. Paul talked about we don't know what to pray for as we ought. Haven't you ever had somebody pray something for you that you're like, this is what I want. Why are you praying that for me? I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like some man's beating a woman and the prayer chain's what we're going to pray to save their marriage. She's like, don't pray to save my marriage. Pray that he doesn't kill me. You know what I mean? I mean, that's like y'all are trying to impose your views on me, and you don't understand the situation I'm in right now. So I don't think meditation should replace prayer, but I do think it changes you in ways that prayer doesn't. I think meditation gets you to a place where you understand your creative powers, but you also accept a lot more. And acceptance doesn't necessarily mean passivity. It just means there are some things in life, this is just the way they are. And if I'm going to bring change, I'm going to have to sort of bring change within the system. That's why even with these meditations that I write on Facebook every day, I still will refer to the scriptures fairly regularly because I understand that's ground zero for most people. And if I don't at least refer to it or whatever, I'm going to lose a lot of an audience that really needs to hear what I have to say. Because you never have to throw your Bibles away. Understand? Jesus is always welcome here. You understand? But we're also going to the next level as well. And I'm so happy we've taken this journey together. I want to go into, I'm so glad we've had this time together. But I am. I wouldn't want to have this revelation by myself. You know what I mean? I want to reflect it off somebody and see it working in them. So, speaking of that, let me show you. This is what Chopra says. I got one more. This is Psalm 25:14 in the Voice. It says, only those who stand in awe of the Eternal will have intimacy with him, and he will reveal his covenant to them. Which is, King James is, the secret of the Lord is with them that fear him. It's talking about God and intimacy. Now, what Deepak Chopra says is this. To make the right choices in life, you have to get in touch with your soul. To do this, you need to experience solitude, which most people are afraid of because in the silence, you hear the truth and know the solutions. That's why I tell people, even when I lead you in meditation, there's really no wrong way to meditate. Even if you just said, I don't really get it, but I'm just going to shut up and be quiet while everybody else says it, even that has value to it. No doubt about it. That's why I'm really so happy with the synchronicity of this last trip, because I love that we did a sitting meditation and a walking meditation, because I think they're really kind of two different dimensions. And even when we were in St. Simon's, we were on the beach, and then when the tide went out and you could walk way, way, way out on that sandbar, I said, let's walk out there, but it's going to be a silent walk. And there was something really just holy about all those people as the sun was coming up just walking in silence. I don't know how to explain it to you. And, you know, some people would look at it and go, well, you weren't doing anything. Nobody was singing and praising or whatever. It's like, yeah, I don't know how to explain this to you. It's a holy moment. It's the secret place of the Most High. Furthermore, if I can use the relationship analogy one more time. Do you know what really, ultimately, the clearest sign of a healthy relationship is? Is when you can be quiet with somebody. Now, you don't want to be quiet all the time. You want to be able to talk when you need to talk. But there's something about, you know, those of you that have been married for a long time, there's something about just sitting quietly with somebody. Just, you don't have to keep the conversation going. It's just like, I am aware of you in my space, and I want you here. I desire your energy, but we don't have to talk all the time. And that's really yes, there is a peace. And that's what these scriptures about the secret place of the Most High, that's what that is. As I've told you before, when Jesus would go off to the mountain for the night, I don't think he was, I don't think he took a prayer list with him, was speaking in tongues. I think he was just communing. He was like walking the mountains and just, there's something very holy about that. The reason, the first time I invited Stephen to go with me on participate in the meditation weekend, because the ministry does, I pay his way. That's something I want to do. The ministry doesn't do that. And the reason I did it, initially it wasn't about the training. It was, he had posted a picture, I don't know who took it, but it's him at Lake Claramere just looking at the lake, and he says, stop and take in a moment. And it made me think, oh, well, you might get what I'm doing and you can add an aspect to it. And this last one we did, we actually worked out, with a bunch of y'all came. So, but I would have never asked him, if he hadn't put that picture on, it would have never occurred to me. Because I wasn't thinking, I'm going to take everybody to, boot camp training. That wasn't even in my mind. It was that, what? But that's not what I was thinking. What caught my attention, I thought, oh, he's looking at a lake, and he made a point about taking in a moment. Okay, that is something that I relate to more than just working out with. It's about, you have to understand, there's a vibe that goes with everything. If you go hear somebody preach and you never come down off of the high, it has a certain appeal to it, but to me, after a while, it just wears out my spirit. It's just like, whew, I get it. I mean, believe me, I grew up in tent revivals and sawdust, and there's nothing anybody's ever done in a Pentecostal church that I haven't seen. There's very few things I haven't done. I mean, I have some history. I remember R.W. Shambach. He pitched a tent back in the 80s out by Six Flags. And Robert, that's back when John Alexander was still in my life. And the three of us went to hear Shambach. And we're sitting there on the front. We were like digging it because he was just so radical and he was the epitome of an old school tent revival preacher. And so he was feeding off a lot of our energy because some of the stuff he was doing, we were high-fiving each other because he was like crazy. Like he'd raise people from the dead and all kinds of stuff. We were like, this is great. This is just what we wanted. And then he says, these three young men up here, we're going to do a victory march. We're going to run around this tent. And I want you three men to lead it. And we were like, yeah. Well, we were like so into it. Now I'd be like, I'm going to have to opt out of that. But at the time, we were like, hell yeah, let's go. We're running around the tent. We're like laughing. We weren't making fun of it. We were just like, this is a hoot. This is exactly what we wanted, And because we it went in Rome, went in the tent. But I also know there's a place you get where you just want to go, would everybody just settle down and shut up? And can we be quiet for a minute? And does everything have to be pumping all the time? And I don't think this is just my age. I think it's just, there's really something in the quietness that I crave. What Jack, if you didn't hear what Jack just said when we were quiet in St. Simon, yes. He said when we were quiet in St. Simon's, it gave a chance for the water and the waves to speak to us. Exactly. Because if you're there and just cranking the music, talking, you're not going to hear. Well, even in Cherokee the other day, I said, let's turn off the music and listen to this river. Because the river has a voice. And some people, you got to be careful who you say this to because people think you're losing your mind. But you start like, wow, this tree's really, on the way over here today, I'm telling you, every one of these trees, these beautiful trees, they were good for my soul. There's something about seeing that color and it represents so much. It's like, it's not even, some people say, well, it's sad because the leaves are about to die. I'm like, no, they're not. They're going to be back. it's a cycle that happens it's not the end of it. Have you not seen, like, there's always a spring. That's what makes this so cool, is that these leaves and they're going to start the whole cycle over in a few months. It's a resurrection. It's not, why would you interpret that as, oh, it's sad, the leaves are dying? I'm like, wow, you really need to extend that a little bit more. There's 4 seasons. Like, how are people so negative? It's unbelievable. Anyway, but I felt like every one of them was speaking to me, and I want to look at every one of them. I want to, I love that I could say to y'all the other day, go put your hand on a tree and be quiet, and not one person rolled their eyes or anything. You're just like, okay. And you might not have heard an actual voice speak to you, but something happened when you connected with that. And I'll tell you, as I've said before, I am and always will be a city boy. I love the city. However, you cannot live on concrete all the time. You have to get out. Your bare feet have to touch some sand or some grass. You have to, even yesterday, just being up on Lookout Mountain, I said, just breathe that air. It's like there's nothing like it up here above in in this fall mountain air. It's just, it's perfection. But you have to, I'm not telling you to stop taking your medicine or stop going to the doctor, but do the other stuff more. Do you know what I mean? Do what you got to do with your doctor, but go sit on a beach somewhere and look at I'm telling you, it's therapeutic. It's healing. When people say, you're going to the beach again, like, mind your own business. It's like, I may need it more than you need it. And if I'm not asking you to pay for it, why do you even care if I went every weekend? All I need from you is like, well, it's the weekend. They're back at the beach again. Like, that's all I need from you, if that. Doesn't it just wear you out? Everybody have an opinion about everything that everybody else does. I got one last night. Somebody very close to us who actually said in our picture, do y'all ever stay home? I thought, why would you care? Why do you care if we never went home again? Why do you care? I'm not going to write you. Do you ever leave home? If I'm not asking you to drive me there or pay for the trip, you shouldn't really have an opinion about it. It's just like, well, I love what you said, enjoy life yesterday. We enjoyed it. It was great. They were doing some kind of, is it rowing? What did they do? It was some college thing, and all these kids are in these rowboats. I was told, I don't even know what they were doing. I was taking pictures of that video, and it was exciting. Like, all these kids I was like caught up. I think I'm a row.
Everybody coming out of
White 8 in all black. Take it in the short socks. Land side. White 8, all black. Short socks.
Rhythm of it. I was trying to figure out, well, how do I can't see where because they go out in the river, like, how do they know when they won? Whatever. I didn't even fully understand it, but I was fascinated because it was young people and it was athletic and it was alive and it was just, I love being in that moment. Some people would say, was it really crowded? Yeah, yeah. We hear it every year. Ain't it real crowded in New York at Christmas? Yeah, it's insane. Y'all ever go to bat, the week before Christmas? You get paid. Well, nobody's writing you a check. Nobody even has to drive me to the airport. So you don't have to have an opinion about it whatsoever. I may go this afternoon. You've been so many times. And again, your point would be what? Dr. Dyer says this. make peace with silence and remind yourself that it is in this space that you'll come to remember your spirit. When you're able to transcend an aversion to silence, you'll also transcend many other miseries. And it is in this silence that the remembrance of God will be activated. What did John say in his epistle? Let that abide in you, which you heard from the beginning. Some people can't hear it because they won't shut up long enough to hear. I mean, you've already got an inner GPS system. You already have an inner light. If you'll be quiet, you'll start knowing the right thing. Those words like intuition and stuff, those aren't just psychobabble. Those are real things that you can't know if you don't learn how to be quiet and just in the way you do everything. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a coffee drinker, then make your coffee in the morning and make it a moment of solitude before you just turn on the news or whatever. Stand at your window and look out at the beauty and drink your coffee and sort of you can make that into a meditation. Meditation is a lifestyle. To say, like, this is a moment I have, and you know, you got to figure out what works for you. That may not be, you know, some people say, well, I just get right out and I want to go for a run. Well, then fine. Then go for a run and make that your meditation. But be silent while you're doing it. There's a time, you know, Ecclesiastes, there's a time to speak, there's a time to be silent. And then finally, Osho, the poet, says, your enlightenment is perfect only when silence has come to be a celebration. Hence my insistence that after you meditate, you must celebrate. After you have been silent, you must enjoy it. You must have a thanksgiving. A deep gratitude must be shown towards the whole just for the opportunity that you are, that you can meditate, that you can be silent, that you can laugh. That's why I've loved, even a couple times we've done the beach meditations, once it's over with, then I start playing some music and everybody starts dancing. It's like there's a moment of celebration that after the silence has fully permeated us, now it's time. Now let's laugh and talk and, you know, and be crazy and whatever, because that's important too. I don't want to be with a bunch of people that never speak. That would be. Can you imagine if you taught meditation so much, people would be like, well, you could say something. We're going to do, I want to do just one. Let's bring the lights down. Those of you that are visitors of ours, I think you'll get it. You'll understand it. You don't have to participate, but I welcome you to. We'll just do Charles, just find me like around a 7-minute one. We'll try to stay on with the time, but I do want to continue the meditation, so please sit up straight, put both feet on the floor, empty your lap. Your posture is important. Get into a posture if it's a mudra, if you want to open your hands or whatever works for you. We're going to breathe in through our nose and hold it. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale through the mouth. You want to become consistent in your breathing. When you breathe in through your nose, exhale through your mouth, you get nitrous oxide into your muscles. Oxygenate your brain. A lot of depression comes from people just not having enough oxygen in their brain. When you align your spinal column and make it as upright as you can, you set yourself in a place of receptivity. We're breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. That happened really quick. A lot of you got there immediately, so I'm not going to have to talk a lot. Just stay in a place of serenity. Whatever stress you took on from the week, now's your time to let it go. Clear the slate for what's coming up this week. Consistent in your breathing. Only be aware of your breath right now. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The secret of the Lord is with them that reverence Him. Let's just start bringing the music down very gradually. Very gradually. Keep breathing until the music stops. And then you can open your eyes. Flowing out of it. Peace to your mind, peace to your heart, peace to your body. Beautiful. Beautiful. You can open your eyes, start coming out of it. She did good. You know, it's interesting. One of those quotes, I think the Osho quote was, "Stop feeling uncomfortable with silence." And I remember in the charismatic days, anytime we got quiet, we felt like something needs to happen. There needs to be a message in tongues. You know, it's like the silence always meant somebody's about to say something, which was fine. But the scripture says, "Tongues shall cease, prophecies they shall vanish away," and there comes a point where you go, "Wow, the silence was enough. The silence is God speaking to me." It wasn't a very long meditation, but it's enough for you to just set the tone for the rest of your day. Man, it's such a beautiful day. Please, just promise me you're going to at least walk outside for 5 minutes. Please, go look at one of those trees, breathe in that air, look at that perfect blue sky. Please don't just run indoors. Just do something. Sit in. If it's chilly outside, put on a coat or something. But you can't. I don't know. I'm just so aware of the days passing. When we were down in Chattanooga yesterday, he said, "Are we going to ride to the top of the mountain?" And it never occurred to me to say again. As many times I was like, "No, I don't want it. This is a beautiful day." And when not only we ride up, we put the top back. And I said, "I want to." You know, these days are precious, and you're going to go like that, and it's going to be winter, and then, you know, it's another fall that's come and gone. So just savor it, enjoy it. Enjoy every bit of it. You get anything out of this today? But of course you did. Let's all stand. We'll play this for the YouTube people. Danny's not here today, so who do they give checks to? Somebody. Somebody take somebody's check. Somebody take them.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. Simply text the amount you would like to give to 404-620-5044. And now you can give anytime by texting this number.
Turn it down a little
You will
bit.
then receive a one-time registration form that links your phone number and opens your account at SimpleGive. Complete the form, and you will then receive a successful registration and donation page. For additional information on your account, visit bishinthenow.com and click the Support tab. Then, My Online Donation.
If you make a check, make it to JESM.
When you contribute to Metron, you're also supporting the charity or organization of the month.
If you have cash, pay it forward.
Thank you for your investment in Metron.
I speak peace over you, and that you find your secret place of the Most High that will be unique to you. It won't be mine. It won't be the person next to you. It's your place with God. If that's in a prayer closet, if that's out in the woods, if that's on the water, if that's in a garden, wherever that is, the secret place of the Most High. Abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I speak protection over your spirit, soul, and body this week. And health. Your health springs forth speedily. I love you so much. Go in peace.